Alright, hi everyone. So, I made a comment on Ginny's channel. Ginny's one of the people I did the Zoom with recently that I posted on the post section on Michael's channel. Her channel's a love story for no one. You maybe check her out if you like. Her pointing's very wholesome. It's very direct, but it's very wholesome. It's beautiful to listen to. But I made a comment on one of her videos and thought it was an interesting analogy. It just kind of popped into my head. Pardon me. Yeah, I remember when I was younger, like a young child, I got lost in a supermarket. Like I lost my mum, and people might have this experience probably, that you get that feeling of terror, like disconnectedness from safety, and I only remember like little bits of it, but I was running around looking for my mum in a panic, full of fear, full of just terror. And some guy managed to notice me, and he lifted me up and carried me. I'm not sure where he took me, but the result of that was he took me to my mum. And I remember that feeling of seeing her, of immense relief and immense joy, and it just cancelled out all the panic completely. So I think that's a really good way of sorry. Pardon me. A really good way of describing, that's better, awakening. It's the same kind of thing. It's, you coming home type feeling. A cancelling out of the search, the frightening search, and a kind of wholeness again. A very, very similar experience, feeling. Kind of like almost the exact same thing. So I wanted to talk about something that I frequently talk about, and that's the ultimate hobby, the ultimate engagement in an activity, the ultimate enjoyment of this. It's like where this ends, this awakening thing, and it ends here. So, the difference between awakening and no self or anatta is that the awakening, it's the same insight, it's the same letting go and relaxing into what's simply here, but it then gets framed in a way. There's a view taken on it, there's a position adopted on it, that the mind still has an ability to, with reality, adopt an interpreting view in relation to the insight, what it means, what its implications are. So it will, and it feels like the most real thing ever. So it will appear as that I am infinite awareness, I am beingness or pure consciousness, or apologies, of course I've got another cold. That I am the pure subject, whatever, very subtle. So in that there's an adopting of a view, and the view is from awareness to manifestation, from the infinite to the relative reality, to the finite. There's a duality there. It's a very deep level of thought, a very deep level of interpretation. There's an identity in that, there's a position in it, and the mind still has the ability to do this. So the result of that is, the insight, this thing can build up again over the insight, and it can seem like you've lost it, and then it's this back and forth type thing, and the mind seeks some sort of comfort, the self seeks some sort of comfort in adopting that view. It still has a grasp on this somehow. Anatta is when that interpretation doesn't start up anymore with any sort of reality. It's the absolute stopping of, or absolute simplicity of mind. It's when that identity has nowhere to stand anymore. It can't take a view on this with reality. It can't take a position on it and relate to reality as something that's actually real. It just stops. There can be a position, an interpretation, but that's clearly just thought, and there's nothing interpreting that. It doesn't feel real with some sort of kind of existential, profound implications of reality. It's just too simple. So it doesn't have to seek anymore, it doesn't have to start up anymore. But no self is the absolute simplicity. And that's why, it can't be understood or framed in any sort of way, which is why it's impossible to talk about. And be understood. Because the understanding viewpoint isn't there, it just stops. And it stops right here. There's no inherentness to this thing that's understanding this. This infinite me is not inherent anymore. So I can no longer say I am infinite beingness. There's no relationship, real relationship going on between what I am, infinite awareness, and what I am aware of. It just stops. It just stops completely. And if anyone's watching this who believes that they've not realised Anatta, believes that this isn't clear here, it's like you experience that. It's not an experience, it's a break in experience. But this break in experience happens when the experiencer isn't there all the time, so to speak. And the time's always now. It's like those instances where the character, the viewpoint isn't there. appear here, probably frequently. It's just like when that self comes online, it can't see that, it doesn't recognise it. Because there's still this view being taken, and the view can't see it. And this is why I like the idea of practice being something, you ever do something, for me it was sports or walking, where you get so into it you forget yourself. You're so immersed in the activity because you enjoy it, because you're doing it for the simple sake of engaging in that now, because I enjoy it, that you forget yourself because you're not looking for anything else. That's a direct route into this no self-realisation. I feel in my experience it's the most potent form of practice. It's an opening to no self or anatta. Like, I had tons of instances when I was involved in sport where I got so into it, that all there was the activity. There was no longer a view in it relating to it. It was the absolute simplicity of just what's happening, what this is now. Because there was that enjoyment factor, there was that all-inness to experience. There was that getting closer to what I was doing, rather than holding a position back from it and relating to what am I doing, where am I, what's happening next, what do I do next, blah blah blah. For me that was sport, but it could be anything. It's like the mind forgot itself for a while. It just wasn't there. But I got really kind of addicted to sport in a way, because part of me recognised itself as itself there, but it wasn't the conscious part. So when my mind came back online to frame it, it was like I really enjoyed that. That's all it can know. Let's do that again type thing. And there was no even spiritual context in it. These experiences, so to speak, of no self. Just experience with no experiencer. No awareness. This is why I frequently say awareness isn't a thing, and it can kind of be a bit triggering for people because there's this attachment to awareness, or a description or a point of view, but there's no awareness, no activity, no person, nothing you can say about it, because it's just simply what it is in the moment. There's nothing taking a view on it. That's not important, it's just forgotten about. I feel this is a direct route to anatta. If it's used as a practice, if there's a conscious kind of practice element to it, if that's kind of integrated into this spiritual practice. Some people don't have an activity or something like that they enjoy as much. They've not found anything in life that they really can get into to that extent. But I think if it's difficult to think of something like this, then if you just kind of pay attention to life and see that when is there more of a flow, when is there an enjoyment factor, what do I look forward to? It can be anything at all. Anything at all, it doesn't matter. So then that hobby of ours, that hobby of mine that was the sport, that which was distinct from other points in time in my life, that which is its own activity, that becomes all the time, always this here and now. There's no distinction between the hobby that you enjoy and the rest of boring life. There's just the infinite hobby that's right here, right now, and it's always accessible. You don't need anything for it. You don't need to buy expensive equipment to do it. You don't need anything. You don't even need other people to play with, but it's always here. So it's the best news that this absolute enjoyment, immersion in this experience in life is always right here, and you can access it any time. So then we take on the ultimate hobby, and for me that was when I was able to get closer to the sense experience, to open to it, when there was no longer this constant seeker in the mind that was looking for something in this or another of this. After awakening, I knew myself, I knew this as it is, the absolute simplicity of being. And there wasn't this distracting thing pulling attention away up into an unreal space and into the world. Sorry, I was getting a call there. Yeah, so when there's the relaxation, so to speak, when there's a letting go of that internal world, or expanding out of that internal world into that which is simply here, presently, this sense experience, we can start looking for, from no position, from this simple self-aware beingness, as that we can start looking for separation, getting really interested, really curious and intrigued, really close to experience directly, looking for the implications of this point of view, as that there is separation here anywhere. And it's like an enjoyable hobby. It's not like a seeking thing where, you know, we're looking to get something, we're looking for a special experience, we're looking for something about this to change. It's just a sincere interest in the profound nature of this sense experience. Direct experience, what this is as it is, without the idea of it's going to be better, just what's here. And the hobby becomes something that goes on, happens all the time. You know, it kind of starts doing itself. You know, when you get really good at sports, and at the start you have to think about it, and, you know, say to catch a ball, you know, you have to think about the steps, you have to kind of get a bit of coaching, and you get really good at it, and it just becomes autonomous, it becomes automatic. Automatic. It just happens on its own, and there's this flow. There's the body just acting without instructions. It's like that. It just happens on its own, and that for me is when it deepened this non-dual nature of the sense experience, this relaxing of this subject-object function anywhere in experience just deepened rapidly, because it became so interesting, incredibly enjoyable, and it's like this incredible mystery. Like, why would you not want to be closer to this? Why would you want to avert from this? It's impossible. It's a miracle that this even becomes the most interesting thing. And then we start to notice the miracle. We're like, this is a miracle. What is this? What is this experience? This is so surreal. This is so profound. The experience starts appreciating itself for its own beauty. And we start noticing these splits. You know the projection of separation, the assumption of a partner, and we start to notice, or I notice, that that's not actually there, really. There seems to be separation, but it's not actually there. So what is there? And then you pass the limit of the mind, so to speak, or you relax back before the limits of that thought projection. And then it the mind doesn't understand that, so it comes back online, and it's like, that's so weird. Same again, relaxing back, or being aware of what this is beyond separation. And it's like, that's so weird, and it might come with a bit of fear. But then even the fear becomes, the non-dual nature of the fear becomes interesting. It's like, wait a minute, this fear, this sensation, there's a thought there, but the sensation, I feel it everywhere. I feel it as far away as I can see. Where is it? You start looking for it, and it's like, it's not even in here. And these barriers, these boundaries of me just start to fall apart. And then that point of view just gets lost, let go of, into what's simply here. Like the person is forgotten about in place of what's actually here, which is just everything that you could ever want or need. And there's a great relaxation into this as it is, without any movement to frame it, without any movement seemingly out of it to a position that's over here, that refers and relates to something else over there. Alright, I'm going to have to go now, but I'll talk to you next time.